Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Fam Fridays. Today, we're joined from a very special guest from the Greek Life office, and we're really excited to share some information about how your student can get more involved with the Greek Life office this upcoming academic year. I'm your host, Daniel Mahmood,
And Anna Kegel.
and let's get on into the video.
My name is Bonny Shade. I serve the university as the Associate Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life. That big title basically means I get to help run Greek Life here at UNC Charlotte, and it is the best job ever. I get to work with some amazing leaders and some amazing students on our campus to really ensure that they're having a successful, fun, and enjoyable fraternity and sorority life time. And it's a good job. I love my job. I love what I get to do. And I get to meet students like you, Daniel and Anna. So this is a good time.
Awesome. I can tell you're really excited to be here, and we're so excited to jump into these questions with you. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the first question. What would you recommend to be a good first step for a student who's wanting to join Greek Life?
Absolutely. If Greek life is something you're interested in, thinking about, have heard of, and maybe you're sitting here thinking like, could it be for me? If that has ever crossed your mind, the first step is to do your research, get educated. The cool part about Greek life is this is a lifetime commitment. This is not something you join on a Friday and you quit on a Monday. So I want you to dive in. I want you to ask the hard questions of myself, of our office, and more importantly, of our students and of our fraternities and sororities that we have on campus. Doing your research is the first and best step in order to go Greek. Why? Because it's going to help you understand what these organizations are about. We have 42 different fraternities and sororities on campus, 21 fraternities and 21 sororities. And those organizations all have different values, mindsets, what they believe in, and how they showcase brotherhood, sisterhood, leadership, different things. So when you do your research, you are going to get to know these organizations. You're going to get to know the students that are in these organizations. And our motto is people join people, not letters. And so even though you may think you have an assumption or an opinion or an idea about what ZTA may mean or Zeta Phi Beta may mean or Alpha Sigma Phi may mean, it's important that we recognize that the people on this campus may be different than your friend's organization at a different institution. So do your research. Follow our groups on social media. That's a great way to kind of start doing some research, see what they post, see what they don't post, or dive into our website. Our website has some amazing resources on it, including our scorecard, which is an in-depth look at what our organizations have done or what they are doing in this academic year. It also includes conduct records and conduct data. So that is a very transparent and honest look at where our organizations have been, where they are, and it gives you a little taste of maybe where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure working in the Greek Life office, you've definitely heard some common misconceptions. So, what are some common misconceptions with Greek life you think family members should know about?
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception from family members is this old school mentality of what fraternities and sororities look like, right? It's like the animal house, stomp the yard, all these different kind of perceptions that people have about Greek life. And those perceptions at this point in 2021, I would argue are very wrong. Fraternity and sorority life has gone through a reckoning and has gone through a moment where we have to look at ourselves and say, what are we really here for? What are we really about? And they've changed in some amazing and powerful ways in order to make men better men and women better women. That's the goal of fraternity and sorority life. And if we're not doing that, why the heck are we here? And so know that even though there are those videos or those misconceptions or those images of fraternities and sororities in different places, definitely what it is at UNC Charlotte is a place where people can come, call home, join people, right? People join people, but also just become a better version of themselves through leadership, scholarship, brotherhood, sisterhood, and community service. And that is what we pride ourselves on. Now, Daniel, I'm not going to look at you and tell you that I have 42 angels of organizations. I'm not going to do that, right? But again, that's where we go back to that first question that Anna asked. Go do your research, look at our scorecards, figure out what these organizations are about. So that way, if you are joining maybe that stereotype that you have in your brain, you know that. But if you're looking for true brotherhood, true sisterhood, people that are going to be a part of your life for forever through leadership, scholarship, values, you're able to do that in a really cool and important way. And so Greek life has changed a lot over the last 30 years. And it's important that we recognize that and allow students to have their own experience when joining a fraternity or sorority.
Wow. And I think along with that, you've definitely already touched on a lot of benefits. But what would you say is like one overarching major benefit to joining a Greek organization?
I love that question, Anna. Thank you for asking that. And this is kind of a benefit that maybe people don't think about. There is a national study that is done for college students, and the national study looks at 9 key elements that students should have when they graduate. These 9 key elements directly fall into employment opportunities. Fraternity and sorority life has been ranked consistently as the #1 place where students can get all 9 of these core elements. There are things like conflict resolution, leadership skills, communication and public speaking, right? These are things that maybe you're not directly getting in the classroom. Fraternity and sorority life nationally is ranked the #1 place to get these top 9 qualities that employers are looking for. That's powerful. Not only that, but also knowing that your organization, like I mentioned earlier, right, is a part of your life for forever. I will have been a member of my sorority for longer than I will have been married. And when I did get to find this human that I decided I wanted to spend my life with, he's a really dope dude, right? Like, and he's also a fraternity man. When we got married, every single person standing next to me was a member of a Greek letter organization. And every single person that stood next to him was also a member of a fraternity or sorority. And so it's this powerful combination of not only do you get these knowledge, skills, and abilities that you're going to learn outside of the classroom to make you more marketable in the job world, right? In this industry, but also for you to say, this is something I get to do for forever. These are people who are going to be a part of my life for forever. And I am the way I am because of the values and the memories and the things that I experienced in my fraternity sorority life in undergrad. So I think those nine key elements are super important to think about, right? Of how are you going to get those if you can't get them inside the classroom? Where are we going to look for that, right? And you can absolutely get those in some other places across campus, right? Athletics, student involvement, orientation, new student family services. But fraternity and sorority life is ranked #1 in the country for the place where you can get 9 out of 9 of these different skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I like how you mentioned that because I honestly did not know about those 9 different skills. And having been joined a Greek organization this past semester, I think it's definitely the best place to find that well-roundedness for sure in your leadership growth. So I think that's awesome that you mentioned that.
I love that. Thanks, Daniel. And yeah, fraternity sorority life is about a holistic experience, right? I don't want Greek life to be the only thing on your resume. I don't want your fraternity or your sorority to be it for you. Your organizations are actually going to expect you to get involved in other things, to maintain a high quality GPA, to ensure that you are invested and involved, not only in the organization, but in the Charlotte community, right? We say Niner Nation for a reason. We bleed green and white for a reason. And we want our students to be a part of that school spirit and a part of that camaraderie. And yes, it might start at fraternity and sorority life, but it absolutely expands into different elements of campus for that well-rounded experience, like you were saying.
Absolutely. And moving on to our community-based questions where we engage the Charlotte community, what advice do you have for families of first-year students coming to UNC Charlotte?
I think the biggest piece of advice is if you are the parent, guardian, friend, sibling of someone who's coming to Charlotte, allow them to dive in headfirst to their experience. And if they're not, challenge them and ask them why not. Because Charlotte is an amazing place where students will get to grow, not only at the university, but also in the city, but also in these other experiences and in these student involvement opportunities. And so I think the best piece of advice that I can give is to say, expect more out of them than to just go to class. Class is important, don't get me wrong. We are here for academics. You are here to get a degree. You are here to get a diploma. However, there is so much more that Charlotte as a city, as an area, and as a university has to offer than just going to class. So be sure to dive in head first, get messy with it. Leadership can be messy. Student experience can be messy. Being a first generation college student can be messy, but also know that there are people who are here to support you, uplift you, and help you. And whether that be myself, as the Associate Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life, whether or not you even choose to go Greek, or Daniel or Anna or the Office of New Student and Family Services, we are all here to ensure that you have the best experience possible. And so my biggest piece of advice is let these students dive in head first. And if you're a student watching this, get in the mix, get involved, go do other cool things, because that is what college is all about, is learning who you are, figuring out how you're going to get through some of the mess to come through as a better, more resilient, more amazing human. And so that's my biggest piece of advice. Dive in, and if they're not, start asking the question, why not?
That is such a good counter question. And I really love that. And I really hope that families and students that are watching this really take that to heart. And like you said, Charlotte is an amazing city. So from your perspective, where is one place in Charlotte that you would recommend families or students to visit?
Absolutely. Oh, so I love Charlotte. If I could be a spokesperson for Charlotte, I absolutely would. And I think a great place to go as a family is probably the Whitewater Center. It is such a cool, maybe you've heard this before in one of these other interviews, I don't know. But the Whitewater Center is it's an awesome opportunity. It's an outdoorsy place, but there's also shade. If you just want to sit and people watch, I'm a people watcher, right? I'm not necessarily an activities kind of person most days, but I love to sit and people watch. And so I will sit there and I will people watch, and it will be an amazing time just to experience that. I also think there is a really cool culture to this city that a lot of people may not recognize or understand, right? Charlotte has a phenomenal cultural scene. And so getting involved and knowing and understanding where you can go to get those resources, those experiences, that food, whatever it may be, is also super important. And so I encourage everyone to follow along with what was formerly the Charlotte Agenda, is now Axios Charlotte, AXIOS. Follow along with them because they send out a daily reminder refresh of what's happening in the city and what's going on and what can you do this weekend. And for students or parents, I think it is important that they know that, because then you can go back to that question of dive in head first. And why are you not? Because here are the 12 things that are happening in Charlotte this weekend. You don't need to come home. Do I want to see you? Of course. Do I love you? Yes. However, I also want you to love your experience. And so let's get you out to the Whitewater Center. Let's get you plugged into these cultural experiences, this food scene, right? Whatever it may be, to ensure that you're falling in love with not only your university, but also the city.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.